Christmas time is here. Everybody knows there's not a better time of year. Hear that sleigh, Santa's on his way. Hip hip hooray for Christmas vacation. Got a ton of stuff to celebrate. Now it's getting closer, I can't wait.
Big show this week. A lot of Vols stuff to talk about. Football, recruiting, Orange Bowl, basketball. Huge game last Saturday in Arizona. They played again. This is Wednesday night. They played again tonight. Got a nice win over the Governors from Austin Peay. So just a loaded show this week. Joined on the show here by Big Montana and Harbin. I'll start with Harb because Big Montana got up and left as soon as we started.
I'm back.
What's going on, Harb?
Not a whole lot, man. Just trying to get ready for the holiday holidays this weekend. Trying to get this last minute shopping done because like I was just saying before we started recording, pressure creates diamonds, and I need pressure to get shopping done. So here we are.
Like you got a lot left to do, or just a few things here or there, or
no, yeah, it's not a lot left to do. I've just got the hard stuff left. Like I've got to purchase stuff for a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and that's not really my area of expertise. And it also feels like they already have everything. So
yeah. I had to buy some stuff for my nephew, and I bought him these like remote control cars. I hope he's not listening. He's 1 year old, so he's probably not.
He is.
But maybe he is. I don't know. But he's got like all these toys, and I was like, this is perfect. Sure, I'll get this. And he probably won't be playing with it this time next year, so whatever.
Yeah, don't matter.
Big Montana got his shopping done weeks ago, I'm sure.
Weeks ago, boys. Hey, listen, on Black Friday, I rolled out on Amazon or wherever I'm going to buy, and I literally Christmas shop in 2 hours, and I get it all bought, and it shows up in the next week and a half, and I send it over to Mom's, and she wraps it, and I'm done. So there you go.
Nice.
Easy lemon squeezy.
I sent my stuff with Jersey Kate, so she's wrapping all my presents for me. I'll have to go pick them up sometime this week. So shout out Jersey Kate. I know she doesn't listen, so that'll never get heard. So
also love the last minute thing because me and Dad, we had a Christmas tradition. He'd wake me up at about 6 a.m. on Christmas Eve, and he'd be like, "All right, get your ass out of bed. We're gonna go shopping." And we go shopping on Christmas Eve morning every single year. So I get it honest, and yeah, it adds a little extra element to it, so it's fun.
Classic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the Christmas episode. So Christmas vacation intro music brought us in this week. So I've only watched it twice so far this Christmas season. I may not watch it anymore, but we watched it here Saturday night before the Arizona game came on, and people were pissed at me because I quoted every single line of the movie, which is why I don't watch it in groups of people.
I honestly, we got to the point where the family shows up in the movie, and I was already ready to kill you. I love you like a brother, but we're never watching Christmas Vacation again.
Yeah, there was people.
I do associate everything Christmas Vacation. I sent you a couple of TikToks earlier that had like random facts or whatever.
Yeah, so that was fun. That was good.
I do send you everything Christmas Vacation related, but as far as watching the movie with you ever again, I don't think I'll do it.
Yeah, there was a group of us went to, it was a few years ago before the pandemic, but it was being shown at the Tennessee Theater, and people were so pissed at me because I was sitting there like this line for line. This guy in front of me was not happy, but then by the end of the movie, he was quoting it with me. So he was fine. He got over it. But yeah, I always forget. I can't help it. But especially when Todd and Margot come into the picture. So let's go. All right. So where do we want to start here? Let's start Tennessee basketball, and then we'll get to football recruiting. The basketball Vols went to Arizona this past weekend, lost a tough one, 75-70 to the Wildcats on their home court. I thought Tennessee played pretty well. I mean, I know they lost and they, left some possessions out there on the court, but Big Montana, you were here. You watched it here. Harbin didn't stay, so he left, but I'm assuming you watched the game, Harbin.
I did.
So what'd you think about it?
Like you said, we did play well. Thought we shot the ball a little bit better than normal, especially in the first half. Kind of got a little cold there for a little bit in the second half. But all in all, I think that game was it kind of felt like an Elite Eight caliber matchup. They played pretty well. It was tale of two halves. We played pretty well in the first half. And shooting kind of killed us in the second half, but they played well. We played well. Just two kind of titans, two top 10 teams. I think the matchup kind of lived up to what everybody thought it was going to be. They're great. They're great. They love to run. And it was kind of encouraging seeing us run with them, especially at the very beginning of the game, seeing that we can do it. And we didn't look completely out of our comfort zone. Had a few calls there at the end not go our way, but I mean, we traveled across the country, played top 10 team, lost by 5. It's not going to kill us. I don't think this loss really hurts us whatsoever. It was really just a resume booster, like we talked about last week. So I'm in good spirits with it. I'm okay. We learned from it. We move on.
Yeah, that felt like an Elite Eight, Final Four type matchup game, I thought. I mean, both teams never really I think maybe one time the biggest lead was it was 9 or 10 for Arizona. We were up 7 or 8 at a couple different points. So it's kind of, you thought a team might pull away. They didn't. And Tennessee fought back there in the second half when they were down 10. It says here let's see, score was tied 7 times, and there was 8 lead changes in the game. So that was interesting. I thought Tennessee, I mean, if you look at Arizona, they're, like we were talking about last week, they're really good offensively, and they average 92 points a game. They scored 75. So Tennessee held Arizona 17 points below their average offensive output. I mean, that says a lot about Tennessee's defense right there. I mean, it's the best in the country still. And that was on display tonight against Austin Peay, which we'll talk about in a second. But I thought
also probably 28 of that 75 came off free throws. You know, they shot at least 30 free throws.
Yeah, they were 24 of 27 from the foul line, and Tennessee, that was one of the differences in the game. And Tennessee was 8 of 10. Another key for me was rebounding wise, Arizona had 38 total rebounds. Tennessee had 30. There was a couple times in the second half where there were some offensive rebounds for Arizona that led to some points. They had 15 second chance points. We had 2. So I think we lost the glass, and we lost getting to the foul line. We just, for whatever reason, they weren't giving us the whistle that they were getting. I thought it was a little lopsided. I mean, Arizona was aggressive going to the basket. I thought we were going to the basket as well. And there's a great example of that was in the late in the second half when Key and Vescovi both got tomahawked, and there was no call at all. I'm not sure what those guys were watching at, and Rick Barnes alluded to it after the game that, you know, he felt like we were attacking the basket, trying to get the ball inside, and we were not getting any calls at all. Especially we shot 0 free throws in the first half, so we shot 10 in the second half. But I mean, it's hard to keep up with a team when they've shot 17 more free throws than you did. And I didn't think it was Tennessee just standing around shooting jump shots. I mean, I thought Tennessee played well. It was just one of those games they lost on the road to a really, really good team that's probably going to be in the hunt for the national title come March. So, Big Montana, you were here. What did you think about it?
Basically the same consensus you boys had. Dude, we got to do a better. I'll say a better job because I do think there's a bunch of missed calls in that game where Tennessee should have been at the line, but it seems like we just have certain issues and problems. I think it goes back to, you know, I always say this, but I want a dominant big man down low. And I wish we had one because I feel like that's what we're missing. You know, for years it was the 3-point guard, and you say what you want to now about Vescovi, but
they still don't really have. They still don't really have that. I mean, Ziegler could be or Key, but
I think obviously there was
Ziegler, not Vescovi, but go ahead.
There was obviously a few calls didn't go our way. I'm not going to chalk that up as to why we lost. I think we kind of folded there for a little bit in the second half. But there, outside of Phillips, we just kind of have a hard time of getting to the line anyway. Like we have a lot of shooters and a lot of cutters, but we never really I can't really think of many times where we go in there and we're able to draw contact, like outside of Phillips, maybe Euros, just because he's so big and he's in the right spot at sometimes. But I think that's definitely one of our weaknesses. It's kind of hard for us to get to the foul line.
Well, we've got a lot of big guys, but they're not I say big guys, like post players. And I think we've got some guys that in the future, like Adu could be good. I think he's shown some flash. Kamwa's come on here recently. He showed some flash, but he's not really he's more of a 3 or a 4 at most. But those guys for Arizona, Tabellis and Ballo, complementing each other really well. I mean, Tabellis can put the ball on the floor or post you up, and Ballo is you can tell he's gotten better this year. They're just more talented than Adu or Waka's young. He physically he can't keep up with Ballo. He's just smaller than that dude. And there's not many people that are that size, but I think Tennessee's done a better job here recently of getting their post guys involved, and they're playing better. I think. I mean, tonight, I think they outscored. Of course, this is Austin Peay, but they outscored Austin Peay 56-12 in the paint. Which early in the season Tennessee was not doing. They were just jacking up outside jumpers. So I think they've made an effort to get inside a little bit more. But yeah, I think there was some turnover issues there late in the game where they didn't even get a shot off. And they just got beat. I think I wasn't even, most of the time I get upset or a little worried toward the end of the games, but that game last Saturday night was one of those. I think and then the Houston Virginia game last Saturday was like the two big games, and I think pretty much both. I didn't get to see Houston Virginia, but sounds like they both lived up to the billing. But I think Tennessee's fine. They just obviously got some things to work on. But I think tonight against Austin Peay they played. I know it was Austin Peay, but man, they looked sharp. The 10 minutes I saw them play. And then listening to some analysis after the game, Tennessee was clicking on all cylinders on both ends of the court tonight. Again, it was against a 6-6 mid-major team, but these are tough games in this time of year because it's the holidays. They're about to go on a break for a week. They could have just half-assed it, but they, I think, did everything but tonight. So I don't know. We'll see. They got conference play starting next week at Ole Miss. A game they probably should win. I think they'll be heavily favored in it, but I don't know. It's this team's going to be interesting to watch as we get into conference play. I believe it's the 28th.
I do have one comment from that Arizona game, and this may be an unpopular opinion. I'm going to preface by saying I love the guy, but nights that Vescovi's not on, he's just not on. And he loves to start forcing things. And I understand as a shooter, like you got to keep going until you see one go in, and then maybe more will start going in. But there was a few shots that he took in that second half where I was like, buddy, what in the world are you thinking?
Yeah, he forced it a little, I thought. I
Yeah.
don't know. He just hasn't looked right the last couple of weeks. I don't know if he's still nursing that shoulder. I was listening to the post game tonight on the radio, and Barnes said they kind of got on him in practice a couple days ago, and they're like, "Hey, I know you're not making them, but you got to keep shooting." And they said today during the walkthrough, he like hardly missed, and you
Well,
could tell.
he went 5 for 5 from 3 tonight.
Yeah, you could tell the little bit I watched and saw, like, he wasn't even hitting the rim tonight. So maybe he's gotten back, and this week off will do him some good, because the last few games, he has kind of not been himself, it looked like.
And I mean, you're going to have bad shooting nights. That's just is what it is. That's literally anybody in the world. And you're also going to have nights where you shoot the lights out, and that's going to be the story through January, February, and March. But in a close game against number 9 team in the country on the road, you can't be forcing fadeaway threes with 11 seconds on the shot clock, personally.
What do y'all think about Urosh in that game Saturday night? I like Urosh's attitude, because every team needs one of those guys. I just thought he went a little too far the other night. And it was so early in the game, he was already acting like that. I don't know. Do y'all like that or want that to continue? I know Barnes wasn't a big fan of it. He called him out after the game in the media, but I don't
Barnes is
know.
hot.
He hurt the Vols early on there.
My thing is this: I love it when the baseball team does it because they back it up. When Euro starts averaging 10 points a game and getting a bunch of rebounds, that he can start acting like that. But until he does, sorry, bro, you're not him.
But he does it at like the most. I don't know why he was doing, like, he got a layup, a rebound, and a layup, and this was early in the game, and he's like standing over this guy. Like, what are you doing, dude? It's not like you tomahawk dunk one over him and teabagged him. I mean, I just didn't get it. I mean, there's a time and place. I mean, I don't mind him doing that stuff, but like, why do it before the under 12 timeout? I didn't get that, and I think he hurt the Vols because he had to sit for quite a while.
The person we need. Sorry, go ahead.
If you're playing Kentucky or like a big rival, it's a high emotion game. I get it, but like, this is Arizona. Like, they're nothing to Tennessee. It was just a top 10 matchup. It wasn't that big a deal. If you're playing Memphis or Kentucky and you do something like that just to set the tone, I like it. But there's no bad blood there. Like, I just don't understand it.
No.
Well, I remember that game last year. It did get a little heated last year, and these two teams are pretty much the same from last year, and I think some of that carried over. And I think Jimmy Dykes was talking about it on the broadcast too. Right. There was a little, I don't want to say bad blood, but you saw it after the game when one of them was running his mouth to Ziegler, and Ziegler kind of jumped at him, and then Vescovi shoved the guy. So it was an intense matchup. I'll say that. I went back and watched it Sunday afternoon, Monday night when I got home from work, and just removing my fandom from it, it was a really good basketball game between two really good teams that we hope, I mean, especially on our end, are going to be in the national title hunt. And I think Tennessee is one of those 10 to 15 teams that can win the national championship in basketball. But yeah, I think it was just an intense matchup, and Urosh let his emotions get the best of him, unfortunately.
The person we need to ask about Urosh would be a friend and listener of the show, Landry Stanton, because he's went on record by saying that Urosh is his favorite player on the team. He loves him. So I'd love to get his reaction. Maybe tweet at us. Maybe tweet at us on Thursday. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, Landry, when you hear this, tweet at us your thoughts on Urosh.
But I'm with bowling. If Urosh played like Shaq, absolutely go for it. Hang on the rim, drop your manhood on somebody's shoulder, all for it. But dude's averaging like 6 points, 3 rebounds. You got to do something before you start talking. You can't talk and then be like, oh well, Santi's gonna come down and hit 3. You can't be doing all that. You gotta back up. You gotta back it up. So
gotta know your role, as The Rock always said.
yeah.
Sure.
And
I don't mind Euros playing that part, but I didn't understand. And he did it. There was one time he set an illegal screen out. I think it was in the second half up top, and he looked over at Barnes and was like pitching a fit, and Barnes was like, you were wrong. And you watch it, it is an illegal screen. So you just get his emotions just a little bit more in check. And again, I don't mind him doing that stuff, but pick your time and place a little bit better, Euros. I thought Tennessee played better offensively.
Yeah.
Shot 42. I saw some complaints on social media after the game that, of course, that's social media. What do they know? And somebody actually tweeted me. But I thought Tennessee, I mean, they weren't fantastic offensively, but I thought they played well enough to win that game offensively. I mean, 42, let's see, 43% from the field, almost 30% from 3-point range, 80% at the foul line. Of course, they only shot 10, but only 12 turnovers. A couple of those turnovers came at a bad time, though. But I don't know. I just didn't think they were that bad offensively like some people thought.
Do you think that they played better on offense because they knew they had to?
I don't know. I mean, I hope. I think that
Like they just kind of like mentally turned it on.
I think they go through stretches where they get, like I said last week, they just get bogged down. I don't know what it is. Like tonight against Austin Peay and the little I saw, and obviously looking at the post game statistics, they were not bogged down. But I don't know. I think they go through stretches where they don't shoot well, and that gets them bought. And they try to make the perfect pass and a spectacular pass. I felt like the offense against Arizona just flowed more naturally, and also the little bit again I saw tonight, it flowed pretty naturally. Plus, they were attacking the paint quite a bit against Austin Peay. But like tonight, they shot 56% from the field, 44% from 3-point range. Only shot 7 free throws, but didn't sound like they needed to go to the line much tonight. But I don't know. I don't know if they go into games like, oh, we got to turn it on. Let's play hard tonight. I would hope not. They should play like that all the time. But
oh yeah, but I mean, number one, they're playing against number one offense, but I don't know. Maybe sometimes they're like, oh, we'll just shut them down, like. Because most of the games we've played so far, 60 points will get the job done. And they knew that 60 would get them blown out the damn arena. I don't know. Maybe it's just something to think about. I could be also completely wrong and an idiot. I've been that before. But
so did that game last Saturday night change your all's minds on Tennessee for the rest of the season? I mean, I don't know what – we hadn't really talked about it. My thoughts were – coming into the season that Tennessee was a contender for the SEC. I didn't think so nationally as much. But after watching them play this first month and a half, I think Tennessee's right there with anybody to win the national championship. Did that game or any games as we head into conference play, has your minds changed from the start of the season to now on Tennessee's outlook this season?
I think Tennessee for the past 4 years has been in a spot where if they played to their full potential, they could be a national championship team. I think that's the case again this year. It's just basically putting it all together and, doing it. There's still that monkey on their back of, tournament time. And I know we joke about it and everything, but it's still a thing. I mean, it's just like with football and beating Florida and stuff like that. Like until you do it, like prove me wrong. Last year it was great to win the SEC championship, and I'm a person that believes that SEC tournament championships matter. Some people that are on this show don't think that, but what do they know?
So that's funny you say that,
it was
and
great.
I'll get back to you. That podcast that I was on last week, the Hoop Southbound, they are adamantly against conference tournaments, and their reasoning for it. And I actually was tweeting with them the other day that if the NCAA committee is not going to factor it in for seeding purposes, like happened to us last year when we should have been a 2 or a 1, then why even play them? I know why conferences play them; it's for money. But
Yeah,
I like conference tournaments.
I think it's fun. I agree that if they're not going to, make them count, then who cares? I don't think Tennessee. I mean, you got like these guys didn't waste a lot of energy playing those 3 games. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not a football game. These guys are 18 to 22-year-old dudes. They can play a basketball game every day. And I understand that injuries happen and stuff like that. But as far as like their legs and stamina and stuff like that, I mean, these guys would be playing basketball every day anyway.
Well, they all play AAU tournaments that play
yes,
4, 5, 6 games a weekend.
Yes, I would say that the practices that these guys are in are harder than the games. That's the way you'd want practice to be. So I'm not one that buys into, well, let's just rest. And, it's in baseball, like I've heard arguments about the SEC tournament with our guys, saving pitcher's arm. Saving a pitcher's arm is totally different than not playing a basketball game, in my mind, in my eyes. So you're going to play in it, win the damn thing. It's fun to put trophies in a trophy case. That's what you're supposed to do. But when it comes time for the big dance, we need to make the Elite Eight or Sweet 16 this year. I mean, I personally think that UT's in a position to where if they don't make the Sweet 16, then this has not been a good year. That's the way I feel about it. That's the way I feel about it. We're at that point now where you're going to have to start putting some banners up for Sweet 16s and Elite Eights and Final Fours. It's time. We're paying Barnes a lot of money. We got the guys here. We got the facilities. We got the support. Just win.
Just win the damn games.
That's right.
JWTDG. Harbin, any change in outlook for the basketball Vols as we go into conference play?
No. If the game was close either way, like it was, nothing would have changed. But like the first month and a half or so, like you said, it's been kind of where I expected. On the preview show, I said that we'd hover, I think the number or the rankings I said we'd hover somewhere between 7 and 16. I may have been a little low on the 16 side, but yeah, I think we're gonna hover around in there. How many conference games they play? Like 18?
18.
18, yeah. I expect us to win somewhere between 13 and 15 of those.
Last year we went 14-4.
Yeah, somewhere between 13 and 15 of those. That's the number I had in my head, or ish, or before. So it's just like Bolin said, we can't keep being content with getting 2 and 3 seeds and getting knocked out in the round of 32.
No.
So as of right now, nothing's changed. But if you talk to me third week of March, could be having a different conversation.
Yeah, I think Tennessee right now heading into conference play is in a lot better shape than 2 teams who I think were ranked ahead of them. I'd have to look up one of them to be sure, but I know Kentucky was, and Auburn may be another one. They're both not playing well at all right now. I think Kentucky won tonight, but last I saw they were up 10 late against Florida A&M. And some of the Kentucky people I follow on social media are not happy right now with Calipari and the direction of the Wildcat program. But I think Tennessee's in great shape heading into conference play. Got nice wins over Maryland, Kansas, obviously. I think the USC win is going to turn out to be good as the season goes along. They beat Auburn the other night, even though they tried to piss it away. Good loss to Arizona. So I think Tennessee's in great shape heading into conference play. Will they win the SEC? God, it's going to be tough. You got Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, then you throw in there Auburn and Kentucky. I mean, this thing's loaded right now.
I just don't want. I just don't want to see Tennessee piss away a game to like Ole Miss, Mississippi State, or South Carolina. You got to take care of who you got to take care of, and then if you split, do they play Arkansas, Alabama, Auburn, and Kentucky this year? Are all those guys on the?
I mean, they play everybody, but some of them they'll play. I don't know who they play twice, but yeah, they will play everyone.
Yeah, so I mean, if you split those four, that's fine. But you can't lose to Vandy. You can't lose to Florida. Don't lose to Georgia. I mean, you got to beat who you're supposed to beat.
Well, like their first 4 games, they need to win all 4 of these. They need to start the SEC season 4-0. They're at Ole Miss next Wednesday. On January 3rd, they host Mississippi State. I mean, Mississippi State's been good this year, but they haven't played anybody.
Right.
South Carolina on the 7th, and Vandy on January 10th. So that's 4 games you should win. They're going to be probably heavily favored in. Then you got Kentucky at home. And then you go on the road to Mississippi State and LSU and Georgia. So their first, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in conference play, they should at least be 7-1, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Yep. I mean, it's not easy to go to LSU and play, but Tennessee's better than LSU. They host Georgia at home. They go to Starkville, and they host Mississippi State here. They got Vandy here. And then they go to Oxford, play Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss isn't a slouch, but Tennessee's better than every one of those teams. I even think they're better than Kentucky. I mean, you could look at this and say Tennessee should be 8-0 after their first 8, to be honest, but easier said than done. But I think Tennessee should gun for 7-1 to start this conference play.
I agree with you. And that Texas matchup right in the middle of conference play is big too. I'm kind of viewing that as the kind of like the Arizona game. It's obviously not a must win, but it would be an absolute treat if we did. I think with losing to Arizona, that game is kind of like I'm not going to say need, but like it would help a lot more if we won that one since we lost Arizona. Kind of help offset that.
It's a quad. It's one of those quad 1 games that when you get into March Madness, they look at that and they're like, oh, you've got 4 quad 1 wins. That team's got 2. So,
right. So that'd be fun, especially get revenge from last year since they took us down in Austin. But yeah, I agree with you. 7-1 should be good.
Be interesting to see if Chris Beard will be on the sideline for that game. Not looking likely, but
my money says no.
I would say not at this point. So,
not great, Bob.
Not no. No. I just remember last year, him and Barnes were chumming it up in that video pregame that came out that morning, and he talked about how he looked up to Rick Barnes and how he was a mentor to him, which he probably was, but then you go and I can't imagine Rick Barnes ever choking his wife or somebody in his family, and then acting like that after, I don't know. It is. He talk about Rick Barnes, and he's like a model citizen, coach, person, human being, and you sit there and talk about how he's your mentor, and you look up to him, blah blah blah, and then a year later, you're supposed to play each other in a rematch, and you're not even going to be here because you've done the complete opposite of what Rick Barnes would have done. So, must not been watching him too closely. Sad.
Very sad.
Unfair. Not unfair. Just sad.
Apparently the dude's like a severe alcoholic. Because I was talking to Adam Hickman, and
does he listen to the show?
I don't know. He's actually on Fox Sports Knoxville radio fan run. He's a buddy of mine though.
We need to get him to listen to the show or get him on the show.
We'll get him on the show. I'll drop a link. He'll get in here one night. But he was telling me that he's done some research on it. Apparently, the dude has a severe drinking problem. He's quit like took a break, I guess, since he went back. But he's quit drinking like 3 or 4 times. And last year after a big win, he was like, "Man, I don't really drink no more, but it'll be hard not to go home and pour a stiff one after that to celebrate." And all those are fun until you decide to choke out your fiance, and then you look back at all those quotes, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, that ain't good." So, in all seriousness, hope the guy gets his shit under control. Hate it got this far, but
Yeah, it's bad. Well, conference play starts next Wednesday. I just looked at the schedule. They play next Wednesday at 5:00 afternoon special.
God,
Yeah, that's weird, but it's the holidays, so they probably got games at 5, 7, and 9 because never understood these networks scheduling college basketball games every 2 hours. I don't get it, but anyways, not for me to understand. But yeah, conference play starts next week, so it'll be a long, grueling 18-game schedule with Texas mixed in there in the middle. So 19-game stretch coming up here to position yourself for March. Tennessee's in good shape heading into conference play. Number 3 in KenPom and number 8 in the voters polls. So really good shape. I think Jimmy Dykes had a stat that he threw out Saturday night that if a team is ranked in the top 12 in this past week's poll since 2004, a team inside that 12, didn't say an exact number, but inside that 12 has won the national championship. So Tennessee's got themselves right where they want to be and need to be heading into conference play. So before we move on to football, wanted to get a quick shout out to one of our listeners, Nicole Doty. Was at the Jumpman Invitational tonight. North Carolina, her Tar Heels were taking on the Wolverines from Michigan there in Charlotte. And I texted her, and she was sitting pretty close, her and her family. I was like, "Are you sitting down there with Roy Williams and Eric Church? Did you see those guys sitting next to each other on the sideline?" That was pretty. I know Eric Church is a Carolina fan, but he was literally sitting right next to Roy Williams. That's like a combo I didn't expect to see watching the game together.
Well, he is also a guy that canceled a concert that held 30,000 people because Carolina made it to either the final or
it was the national championship game.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure last year. So
he's big time.
Kurt Busch was there, sitting on the sideline. So of NASCAR fame.
Where's Gavin when you need him while we're talking NASCAR?
Yeah, Gavin's in bed asleep. Let's be honest.
Sad.
Day-Day's on his way back from Dollywood. At least it wasn't Disney World or Disneyland.
Yeah. Dolly Parton's she's a fine Christian woman, not one of those pedophiles that support Disney.
Sad. Always remember. ABC, ESPN, piss on you. Football recruiting. Early signing period started today. Tennessee had a nice haul. Finished, not finished. It's not over yet, but as of right now, they are, according to On3 recruiting, they are 12th in the country. 2 5-stars, 10 4-stars, 13 3-stars. Total overall rating of 91.871. They actually have added a line, average NIL. Tennessee's is 100,000. I've never seen that on here before, so I'm not exactly sure what all that means. But they finished right behind Clemson. They were just fractional points behind them. Florida's with 10, Oklahoma at 9, Notre Dame 8, Oregon 7, LSU 6, Ohio State 5, Texas 4, Miami Hurricanes at 3. Cristobal's recruiting his rear end off down there, it looks like. And
gonna need it.
Yeah. Georgia and Alabama. Georgia at 2, Alabama at 1, of course.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Speaking of NIL, did you see Dabo's quote today about NIL?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God.
Dude, he is so cringeworthy. And like, great for the guy for wearing his faith on his sleeve, but like, this guy's no Tim Tebow. I'm sorry, he's not. When he said that, I was like, my goodness.
It's just
it was almost like it was a quote that a parody Dabo Sweeney
would
Twitter
make.
account
Yes.
would have said.
Yes.
It was like, it was so perfect that I didn't even think it was real at first.
Exactly.
It's like
I
that.
had
It's
to
like
check.
that rap he did that time where he's wearing the receiver gloves. It's just like, dude, stop!
TikTok.
Just stop it.
Oh.
So in the SEC, Tennessee is, let's see, Georgia, Alabama's 1 and 2. Then you've got LSU would be 3, Florida 4, Tennessee 5. Some people like to now throw Oklahoma and Texas in there. So if you did that way, it would be 7 out of 16. But we're 5 out of 14. Pretty. I mean, I think Tennessee's class was pretty good. I haven't got to read all of it yet, but earlier in the, I mean, it's been hovering between 15 and 20 most of the year, so it's moved up quite a bit. But you had Nico, who put a video out today, or a little clip. I think I saw it on Instagram about how to pronounce his last name, and I sat there and said it over and over and over, and I've already forgotten. But he was obviously the top recruit that came in. Davian Hobbs, defensive lineman, was the next big player Tennessee signed, a 5-star out of Concord, North Carolina. And then you had Caleb Herring, who's an edge rusher. Chandavian Bradley, another edge rusher. So the first 4 guys were defense, which has been a big need for Tennessee, especially toward the end of the season last year, but even going back to 2 years ago.
I love that personally.
4-star wide receiver Nathan Laycock, 4-star tight end Ethan Davis, 4-star tight end Cameron Selden, 4-star linebacker Arian Carter, 4-star linebacker Jordan Matthews, another defensive player, not linebacker, cornerback. Offensive tackle Shamarad Umarov, I think is how you say it. It's got NIL value here outside of him. That's like, it's blowing my mind. He's worth $25,000. It says, this offensive tackle.
I think the most pleasant surprise of the day, I took it as a surprise. BYU linebacker, got him out.
Yes.
I guess technically out of the portal.
Keenan Peely, transfer from BYU linebacker, been a captain of the team for past 2 years. And one that flew under the radar was the kicker from Indiana has come in.
Yeah.
And he's transferred in. Charles Campbell. He's out of Jackson.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But I think Tennessee addressed some needs. They got a 4-star tight end that transferred in from UC Davis. They got the offensive tackle Andre Carrick out of Texas. He was a 4-star recruit, played quite a bit last year, started. So a surprise that came, I didn't realize that he was looking at Tennessee, was Deshaun Bishop out of Carnes here in Knoxville. He committed today. I haven't seen I think he signed, or he did commit at least. But he was committed to Coastal Carolina, and when Chadwell left and went to Liberty, he opened his recruitment back in and was down to Tennessee. Apparently, I didn't know this till yesterday. Tennessee and App State, and he chose Tennessee over App State. A little, and people may not know this, a little, not really Carter High School connection to this recruiting class, but you could say it. Jack Luttrell is a safety out of Colquitt County, Georgia, 3-star. His dad is Stan Luttrell, who was for 3 seasons the head football coach at Carter High School. I remember this kid when he was, I'm trying to think, I couldn't have remembered him because the ages don't match up for when he was here. So Stan Luttrell was our strength and conditioning teacher my junior and senior year. So after he was relieved of his duties at Carter High School, he went down to Georgia and has been coaching down around the Gainesville, Atlanta area for the last couple decades. So his son Jack, pretty athletic kid, not sure he'll see the field right out of the gate, but he might be one of those projects that pans out later down the road. We'll see. But I don't know. I think a good class that addressed some needs, especially on the defensive side of the football. But it's you got to recruit at a high level and get transfers in, and I think I think Heupel and his staff have done that.
Yeah, it was good to see certain holes and needs get filled. Like you said, defense, but one of the bigger things to me was offensive line. Because and getting transfers is going to help because there's going to be a lot of opportunity to put it in a good way for the offensive line next year with Darnell Wright and others leaving. So, guy from Texas, he's going to come in and make immediate impact, or at least have an opportunity to.
Yeah, I was going to say Darnell Wright's offensive tackle, and the guy transferring in from Texas is an offensive tackle. So,
right.
Yeah, that's immediate need right there.
Yeah, and obviously the boy from BYU is going to come in and play right away. And I'd say we're going to have a good amount of true freshmen at least see the field on defense this year. You'd think. I mean,
I would imagine that Caleb Herring's going to get playing time. Probably, I would think Tre'Davion Bradley's going to get some playing time. Hobbs is going to get playing time on the defensive line. I'm assuming is Byron Young a senior, or is he draft eligible? Could he return if he wanted to?
I think he already said he is. Am I dreaming on that? I think he already said he's coming back.
Coming back to Tennessee.
I could be very wrong, but I think I saw that.
I'm gonna look this up here.
Who's that?
Byron Young.
Bray McCoy said he's coming back today.
I did see that. That'd be big time.
I figured he would.
Yeah. Be big time.
It says here 2 days ago, or back on the 7th, Byron Young accepts Senior Bowl invitation.
Oh, well, never mind.
Well, he's I would assume he's not coming back. So,
like I said, I've been wrong before.
Yeah, it says I hadn't heard this. I don't know how I've missed this. Should Young follow through with the decision to play in the Senior Bowl, it will ultimately mean his time on Rocky Top is over. The game is played on February 4th in Mobile, Alabama. So something to keep your eye on there. Maybe he changes his mind and comes back. I don't know. A lot will depend on, too, if he's enrolled in school in the spring semester. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. But I think you're right. I think some of these guys are going to get some playing time right out of the gate. I don't know that unless he just comes in and wows everybody, which he's already – a lot of these guys are already here. But like Nico, will he be ready to go under center right out of the gate? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. A lot of these freshmen play anymore, and he's the number 2 quarterback in the nation. So maybe he is good enough to be ready. We'll see. It'll be a big spring for him and then going into the summer. So, I mean, he's already here practicing with the team for the bowl game. But, yeah, I think some of these guys, like, can Nathan Laycock get in there and contribute at wide receiver next year? Can Ethan Davis at tight end get in there and contribute? Because you're losing I assume you lose Warren and Fant both. I think Warren could actually come back, but I'm not sure that he is. I haven't heard, but there's a potential to lose both of your tight ends, so he could see some time right out of the gate too. And Tennessee uses tight ends quite a bit in this offense, so I think there's a good opportunity for these guys to play right out of the gate. I've left y'all speechless.
Heck yeah, I'm fired up, boys.
So
I like the transfer portal. I really do. I understand that it does. I mean, I think it gives the kids a choice. I mean, I think if coaches are allowed to leave and go pursue other things, I honestly believe that the players should too. That just means that the coaches are going to have to do what they can to keep the kids here. I don't think we've been hurt by that yet, really, to be honest with you. Except for, our mass exodus when Pruitt left. I mean, that was to be expected. But Um, I think the Vols are taking advantage of it. I think that's a big reason why Tennessee is 10-2 right now. It you know, Tennessee is one of those places where kids are going to fall in love with it. I think it is kind of dirty how they're attracting kids with NIL money from other schools. Um, I can see how that's going to be an issue in the future, but as long as we're the ones attracting, I don't care. Piss on everybody else.
No,
Fair enough.
yeah, I hear you, brother.
Well, Tennessee continues to prepare for the Orange Bowl. We'll have more on it next week. Hoping to have a little Clemson Tigers flavor to the show next week.
Yes.
So we'll work on that between the ending of this podcast and next week. But yeah, we'll have that next week as we get into a game week. Gosh, it's like here already. Orange Bowl game week.
Harbin and me are going to Nashville next week. We're going to watch the Cowboys, two choke artists of teams, take each other on to see.
Boys, I know we don't talk a whole lot of NFL in here, but I'm worried. The Titans are in bad shape. It came out tonight that Tannehill's probably done for the season. He's going to have ankle surgery. So
yeah, I saw where they signed Dobbs today.
They signed Josh
I was about to
Dobbs.
say, this is lining up, which I mean, obviously I'd be upset.
I know where you're going.
I would be upset because Montana and I are driving down there, and it's my first ever time seeing the Cowboys play live. But at the same time, I don't even know if I could be mad at it. It's lining up for Josh Dobbs to defeat the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I know.
I'm already mentally preparing myself for it because I have no idea how that'll hit me.
So I'll be in the air when that game's being played, and I hope when I land in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that Josh Dobbs has put the Titans on his back and carried him to a victory. No offense to you guys, but I
would have to appreciate it. I mean, as good as our defense is, if he pulled that off, man, hats off. I loved him. Yeah. I've loved him for years, man. I couldn't be mad at a regular season NFL game.
The Titans have so many issues, even without Tannehill being out there. Their offensive line isn't great. They've a lot of their issues, or a lot of Tannehill's health issues, is because of that. They have no wide receivers. Obviously they have King Henry, but they don't give him the football enough. How many times this past week did they have a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 1 and they're throwing the football? Like, what are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
Todd Downey stinks. Vrabel's going to have some decisions to make this offseason. I was telling some people today, Tennessee's blown. The Titans have blown the window they've got here with Derrick Henry. He's got 3 years, I think 2 or 3 years left on his contract with him that he signed last year. I think he'll be down to 2. I was reading some stuff. Should the Titans blow this thing up and start over? I hate to get rid of Derrick Henry. Do they do that? I don't know, but I think they could. In today's NFL, you can reload fairly quickly, and they've got some pieces. They don't have to necessarily blow it up, but I'm just not sure that they knew what direction they wanted to go as a franchise, because they had the centerpiece in Derrick Henry. You had I don't want to call it, he's not an all-pro quarterback, but Tannehill's good enough to win games, even though he's chokes in the playoffs. But they got rid of A.J. Brown. They let Corey Davis walk. And they did draft Burks out of Arkansas, who's got potential to be good, but he's a rookie. And now he's hurt. So you literally have, and they signed Robert Woods. Robert Woods is a number 3 wide receiver at best. I don't know what they've done, and they've drafted poorly the last few years. I don't know. They're in rough shape right now. I mean, they're looking at losing 5 and 6 in a row here, and blowing this AFC South lead where they were 7-3 a month ago, and now they're 7-7 and staring at 7-9, especially now that they don't have Tannehill.
Well, their saving grace and the thing that probably holds them from blowing this thing up is they play in the worst division in football.
It used to
And
not. I mean, this has just
no,
been over the past couple years. It's gotten this bad.
yeah. I mean, for years the NFC East was the worst division in football, and this year it's the best.
I mean, the
It's not
Titans,
particularly close,
the
really.
Titans, the Texans, and the Colts were always fighting it out. I mean, those were like dog fights every week.
And now for what looks like at least the next probably year or two, it's going to be Tennessee and Jacksonville. That's what it's looking like. I think the Colts are going backwards. The Texans are a train wreck. We'll see how Bryce Young works out for them whenever he gets inevitably drafted. I don't know if you do blow it up.
I don't think you do. But
I just go get a quarterback,
honestly, because I don't care.
They're going to have to figure out something at quarterback because Tannehill, I think, can walk after this year, and he might do that. I don't know.
Why would he?
They need a quarterback. I think that they're good enough still. Their defense probably needs some work, but I think their defense definitely needs some work. They need a quarterback. Tannehill's done some cool stuff since he's been there. He got them over the edge there, and a couple of years ago got them to the championship game, right, or almost the championship game.
No, they were in the AFC title game.
Yeah. So I mean, but last year after that Bengals game, I mean, sorry, bro, it's over. He's dog shit. Find somebody.
I mean, nah, I don't think he's dog shit, but he's got he if he's got the weapons around him, he's not the problem.
He looked a lot better with AJ Brown.
Oh yeah.
I mean that doesn't take an expert to say that.
When you look at quarterbacks like the greats, like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they a lot of times did not have great receivers around them, but they made these guys all pro receivers because they were really good. Tannehill's not done that. He had an all pro wide receiver there with him.
That's probably the dumbest thing that the Titans have done in a long, long time.
It was a poverty move.
Yeah.
It was a poverty move.
It was an Oakland A's move.
You don't want to pay your second best player, so you trade him, and then you draft a guy that has that's the prototype of a build exactly like his, but just on a rookie contract. Yeah, I think it was perverse, and I don't know. I think if you're going to let him go, you might as well just blow it up. That's the other way of looking at it. If you think Tannehill's going to walk, go ahead and trade Derrick Henry while you got fire Downing and start from scratch.
Yeah, it says he I think he can potentially opt out after this season, 2023.
I also don't know why he would. Where would he go?
That's a great question. I don't know. He says he's set to earn $27 million next season.
Yeah, he'll be the Titans quarterback next year.
I can't imagine. I mean, I hope he stays because I don't think the backup they drafted out of Liberty is going to – I just haven't seen anything out of him in the games he's played. I don't know if they'll be in a position to draft somebody to take his place. And I don't know that there's anybody in free agency that you go out and get that's better than him. So they're kind of almost stuck with him, to be honest. But it's not the worst quarterback to be stuck with. But they got to get him they got to get an offensive line. They got to get some receivers. And they got to shore up the defense hasn't been bad until the last, and they're ravaged by injuries too. Let's not forget that. But they got a lot of things they got to fix this offseason.
I saw a mock draft. Saw a random mock draft had Jalen Hyatt going to the Titans, and in the second or third round had I think it was Darnell Wright. I think it was Hyatt and Darnell Wright going to the Titans. So I'd fill a couple holes. And
do they need offensive? In NFL, they still run more of a pro style, obviously pro style, but you got to have offensive and defensive linemen. This is where the game's won. And speed. The Titans, I mean, every game they play, it's 7-7. Into the third quarter, it's 10-7. It's 7-10, 7-7, 14-10. It's just it's a mud fight, a rock fight every week.
If y'all's front seven wasn't as good as it is, y'all would be real bad.
Yeah.
Y'all's defense is solid.
The Titans defense, I think part of their problem, they've got guys banged up all over the place. I mean, every time you look out, there's somebody down on the ground. That's part of their problem too. But
For sure.
they got to fix the offensive line's got to get fixed, and they got to find some receivers for Tannehill or whoever the quarterback's going to be. What's that guy's name? Malik Willis, is that his name? Out of Liberty. I'm not sold on that guy. I'm not sure what they were doing there, but anyways,
He's a hell of an athlete. I don't know if he's got the arm talent or not, but
let's see. A couple other things I had here. I'm wearing UT baseball hat from the 90s. Tennessee, the Diamond Vols start the season ranked 5th, and they have 5 All-Americans, preseason All-Americans. Let me pull them up here. 3 of them are the starting rotation on the weekend. Is that not wild? You have 5 All-Americans, and 3 of them are your Friday, Saturday, Sunday starters.
I'm here for that.
Embarrassment of riches.
Let me pull up the page here. Oh, sorry. Not prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Not prepared at all, fellas. All right, here we go. Actually, 4 of them are pitchers. You've got Chase Dolander, who is the projected number 2 pick in the MLB draft this year. Chase Burns. Both of these guys are first team. Camden Sewell, second team. Drew Beam, second team. Maui Ahuna, the transfer that's coming in, is third team. He'll be at third. It's either shortstop or third base. I think it's shortstop. He's coming from Kansas. Yeah, he's coming from Kansas. So 5 preseason All-Americans, 2 on the first team, 3 on the second team. So the Vols should be good again. And like Harb said, I think Vol Shop is putting out the black interlocking UT hats tomorrow that was supposed to be out last August. Somebody there told me. Didn't happen.
When it comes to looking into baseball season, I know this is a ways away. Well, I guess really it's not. It's already Christmas.
They start in February.
Yeah. Golly. Shoo. But I think looking ahead to baseball is a little bit different than looking ahead in basketball. Because, I mean, if you want to admit it or not, baseball teams kind of got, or over the last 2 years at least, baseball teams kind of got the same problem basketball team does. Be very good in regular season.
Yep.
Not get it done in playoff time or whatever you want to call both of them. But the point where I see it different, and maybe I've got orange glasses on, I'm not sure. I think the baseball team and Vitello has a different attitude, as in like fire and red ass treatment, to where I think they'll use last year and power them through into a deep run. That's just personally how I look at it. I really don't see them losing in regionals or super regionals. Like I kind of see them going scorched earth and whooping ass, taking names, and
there you go.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. I think they took last year very personally, and we got too many guys coming back to where that wouldn't matter.
Sorry, responding to the text message. Yeah, well, at least since he's been to Omaha already, under Vitello, so that's it's like going to the Final Four.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but yeah, last year they should have went back. They were clearly the best team in college baseball, and they just got beat.
Which baseball is different. Anybody can beat anybody. I know it's just one of those weird things, but I see red ass treatments and opening up cans in the near future in the spring and early summer.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch them again. LSU is going to be really good this year. I think Florida is going to be really good this year from what I've read. So it's going to be tough again. But what's not What sport is not tough in the SEC? Every sport.
Every sport.
I mean, the golf team's in the top. The men's golf team's in the top 10 right now for UT. I mean, we're just one disappointment this year, I guess, would be, and I know I don't watch much of the Lady Vols, and you all probably don't either, but they have been a huge disappointment. They started the season top 5, and I think they're either at 500 or below 500 right now.
They stink.
I know they've had some injuries and they've not had their full team out there, but still, come on. I like Kelly Harper, whatever her name is. God, I hate to say this, but there's a reason that she was let go at NC State.
The Lady Volunteers are 7-6.
They are in legitimate danger of not making the NCAA tournament for the first time ever if they don't get their crap together. And again, I don't watch them. I don't know what's going on, but
I don't even know if I call it legitimate danger. I'd just go ahead and write it off.
They are. I mean, they're in trouble.
They ain't, unless they turn it around.
They would have to get hot in conference play at this point.
Which, however you want to look at it, I'm looking at ESPN right now. I haven't watched a single second of these ladies. But last 5 games, they lost a neutral site game to number 9 Virginia Tech by 3. Beat UTC by 30, Wright State by 40, UCF by 35, and then lost to number 2 Stanford by 7.
Apparently, they led a lot of that game. I didn't watch it, but
yeah. So I mean, maybe they are starting to play a little bit better. I don't know, but they're gonna have to start playing a lot of bit better if they want to play postseason.
This will probably be the last we talk of the Lady Vols on this podcast.
Yeah, I already wasted enough breath on it.
We've wasted 2 minutes too much. I can't watch them. I used to watch them when I was younger. I can't watch them anymore. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's rough. But anyways, well, Christmas is just a few days away, so I think as a podcast we've been pretty good this year. So hopefully Santa visits us here over the next few days. I don't have a chimney here in my house, but I'll just leave the front door open. He can come in, lay his stuff down here, and then I'll leave some milk and cookies out for him, and he can be on his way.
There you go.
Gavin's gonna get some of that good old Kentucky coal in his stocking.
We should purchase good Kentucky coal and wrap it up and give it to Gavin for Christmas.
That's fine. Let's drive up to Harlan and go get some.
I'll look into that and see how much that costs. Just like one little thing of it. One little rock. Speaking of Harlan, I saw an interview today, Big Montana. Justified Primeval City, I think is what the new show's called. It'll be out next year in 2023.
Very good.
It's 10 years after the events in Harlan unfolded, and Raylan's living in Miami, and chance encounter sends him to Detroit. They said there would be a few characters show up randomly from the original show, but mainly new characters. So I'm excited about that. And his daughter in real life is playing his daughter on the show.
Very good.
So that'll be interesting to see. But I was watching something the other day, a preview for a show or a movie, and remember Loretta on there? She's in the movie. Oh, it's the movie with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. I saw it on Peacock, a trailer. Loretta on there, whose daddy was killed by
she was a weed farmer. She was a weed farmer.
Yeah, and she was her daddy got killed by Mags early on in season 2.
Yep.
So great show.
Speaking of shows, Montana, I gotta give you a shout out. I am watching The Sopranos for the first time currently.
It's the best show ever made. There's not a close second, buddy. I'm telling you.
As of right now, Breaking Bad is my number 1. Game of Thrones is my number 2. It would be number 1 if it wasn't for that horrific ending. But I'm towards the end of season 2 of The Sopranos. I'm absolutely loving what I'm what I've seen so far. I'm sure that I've got a lot more ahead of me. But I'm enjoying it. I've
Good.
started talking with my hands and saying, Maron,
Gabagool.
yeah, the
Gabagool.
gabagool, Maron, Montana.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna start watching it this
Oh.
winter. I gotta get through the holidays first. I was
It's very
wanting
good.
I was wanting to over the holidays, but I'm gonna be pretty busy next week, so won't be home much to watch it. But anyways, I gotta watch that. Big Montana's been trying to get me to watch it for years, and I think about it, and then I start watching something else, and I forget about it.
He's
So,
watched the damn Office 19 times through, but he won't watch.
well, I watch that at night, like when I'm going to bed. Something just to like help me go to sleep.
I've started
It's-
doing that with
it's-
Seinfeld.
The reason why
Seinfeld's
it's my,
another one
the
too.
reason why it's my favorite show is because that show came out in the 90s, like 99, and it still resonates in 2022. Like Breaking Bad and like all these other shows, like they're 20 years later, and of course they're good because everything now is better, but the storylines and the characters and these guys that were actually in mafia movies and connected to the mafia are actually in the show. Oh my god, it's so good. I love it. That show.
Solid.
All
No
right.
spoilers, even though the show ended barely under 20 years ago.
As I say, it ended a
Please.
long time ago, so no
Yeah, I know.
spoilers.
I know. I was just JK. Hashtag JK.
Well, that's all I got for this week. Tennessee basketball's off until next Wednesday. We'll try to record earlier. May not be Sunday this week because Sunday's Christmas, so we'll all be with our families. But maybe early Monday night's probably going to be better for me next week. So we'll try to get this thing done early next week. Have a little insight into the Orange Bowl coming up from a Clemson fan. And obviously, we'll talk about the Vols. What are they going to look like heading down to South Florida? Tennessee basketball plays Ole Miss next week, so we'll look at that real quick. But we'll get a show in before the end of the year, and then we'll head into 2023 looking to be bigger and better than ever. I've still got a ton of stickers here. I'm pulling one out of the drawer right here. Still got a ton of stickers. I got to get some out to our boy Chris in Nashville. Hendersonville, wherever he's at. He listens to the show, our YY brethren. Got to get him one. And, some Tennessee podcasts sell merchandise. We just give it away. I just give it away.
It's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Right. Hey, I got a shout out. Griffin turned 9 years old yesterday. He's still alive somehow. We've done a great job feeding him and maturing him in life. Shout out to my son. He's 9. Way to go, Griff. You did it.
Happy birthday, Griff.
I don't know if Griffin listens or not, but happy birthday.
Happy birthday, big Griff dog.
Oh, God, there was somebody told me they listened the other day, and I've totally blanked on who it was. I'll have to think about it for the next show.
I've got a closing thought or two.
Okay, you've got 3 minutes, Harbin.
No, this is gonna be quick. I'm gonna go rapid fire.
My first shower, it was
yeah. Top 5 showers, 6 through 10. No, one. This is completely random, but I saw it today and it burnt my ass. If there's a funeral procession driving down the road, pull over, and take 90 seconds to 3 minutes out of your day.
Seriously, that chaps my rear end.
Important enough for you to blow by a hearse. That happened today.
It is pathetic.
Yeah, that really bothered me. So if you're out there and you're one of those people, you suck. I hate you. However,
Shame
there
on
is
you.
time to change. So the next time you see one, pull over.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Not you, but shame on them.
Another one for all of our listeners and friends. Enjoy the next few days with your family. Hug your loved ones. Call your friends. Tell them Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Kick back, enjoy this time off with the people you love. There's my little wholehearted message for the evening.
Harb, I did need to I remember what I was supposed to say. Hunter Grubb didn't like our comments about her playing Florida Gators fight song, but she did say that you and I, she didn't say anything about Big Montana. It's not a knock on Big Montana, but you and I have great voices for podcasts. I was
Kinda
like, are
saying-
we
I think she was
We are.
kind of saying you got a face for radio. You know?
right? Right.
Jeff Harbin
That's what
told
I
me
was
that every
thinking.
day of my life, so I've heard that one before. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
That's
about
what
it.
I was thinking. We've got faces for radio, Harbin. That's what Hunter Grubb said. Unbelievable.
It's my
Unbelievable.
calling. Yeah, face for radio.
Sad. All right. Well,
Be a good mask model too.
hey, be on the lookout. Christmas Eve, Chad Grubb and his PJ pictures.
Yes.
They're
Absolutely.
coming. I can feel it. All
Yep.
right. That's
Tony
this week's
Schiavone.
show. That's this week's show. We are out of time. We'll see you next week on the Section YY8 podcast.
Merry Christmas. Go Vols.
Love you guys.